You know you only have 10 days and there's no exhibition games, and I'm just curious how you, management team, more importantly your coaching staff, what went into the decision making on how to design camp and how to prioritize what you needed to get out of camp so that your team was as ready as it could be on January 14th?
Well, we didn't change it a lot. Early on, the first 3 days, I always feel you need probably a minimum of 3 days to cover. We always work from our net out. So the D zone sort of stuff, breakouts, make sure you're drilling down on those with video and then the drills that go with them on the ice. And then the next day we move into the neutral zone defending. We've tweaked a little bit of our neutral zone defense, how we're going to break pucks out from that. So a little bit of teaching there, and then the transition part. The O zone's probably the easier part because a lot of that's creativity and just the individual skill sets, what they can get away with, what they can't. But we have tried to build our our D a little more into the offense with O zone spacing. So we wanted to make sure we hit on all three of those. So that's the first thing we look at camp. And then how do you keep their pace up in conditioning? How do you condition your team without wearing them out in 9 days? So that was probably the biggest discussion. So, we didn't do our typical amount of testing, and then we found out anyway that the Players Association, weren't going to allow it. So that made a decision easy. But that's probably the conversation you have. How hard do you push them those first 2-3 days so that they recover well enough so that when you get into the scrimmage, you're seeing a good level. So I thought we did. I thought the pace was good in the scrimmages, certainly could have executed better at times. So that's the thinking the most. And how do you replicate as many exhibition games as possible in a 9-day span? We decided to go Thursday, Friday, Monday. So we got 3 in. Over that time period, I don't know that we could have got many more. Did we need to do one today? That's the question. I thought it came off fine. And the special teams part of it will show up in our first couple games to see if those extra reps you get against live competition will have benefited the group or not.
I think it's fair to say that that you have an offensive creativity bent to the way you see the game, but your teams have been excellent defensive teams ever since you assumed reins of this Bruins team. And there could be games, as you've already pointed out, where you're going to have a Lazan, a Zaboral, and even maybe a Vakanainen all in the same lineup in the same game. And I'm just curious, with that kind of turnover on the blue line, does it approach the way you as a coach, how you need to coach them up, or is it still the same type of system that needs to be employed?
Yeah, we're going to stick to the same. It's just those guys have to understand what they're capable of and where they're at right now in their careers. So you may tweak the pairs then, Brick, if you feel that, okay, tonight we need a little more offensive night, the way the game is probably going to set up or the way it's going, and that's where you can move a Grzelcyk around with maybe a McAvoy and with a pair that's offensive minded. So you're working in, I'll call them blocks, with a line and a set D pair. We do that at times. And then the fourth line will see a little bit of everybody type of thing. So that happens through the course of a game where you're trying to build that chemistry. So that will come into play with the younger guys that haven't really been with a line yet. So we've got to see where they fit.